So at this time, I missed a call from my mom, and I just thought, well, I'll call her back, no big deal. And then about 5 minutes goes by, my sister Maya, the baby sister, calls, and I'm thinking to myself, something is not right. This is not average for them to call me back to back. So I just text her and I said, is everything okay? I'm busy. She said, no, it's not okay. Something's wrong with Lundy. And so I immediately stop what I'm doing and I call Mom. And Mom is obviously upset, but more gathered at this point. I feel like she's had a few minutes to kind of go through her head with what's happened. And she proceeds to tell me where they were at. I knew the property. She told me that he was stung, but she did not know by what, because he has a history of being stung by, like she said, wasp, etc. So I said, okay, well, where's he at now? And she said, he's en route to Mercy. I said, well, I'm on Rogers Avenue. I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm going over there. And like she said, it's COVID. We did not know if we could get in. I said, I did not care. I was going over there and I was meeting the ambulance because I, for myself, needed to know that Lundy was okay. And so she said, okay. I said, where are you at? And she said, I'm on my way. So I said, as soon as they get there, I'll let you know. So I proceeded to go over to Mercy, and I did not get to stay in the ER. I waited outside and I waited for each ambulance to come through. And we have that Life 360 app. We're guilty, we're that family. So I watched where Mom was at to see, you know, how much farther out she was. And finally the ambulance arrived, and I just walked over there and I said, I am Lundy Kiger's daughter, Miranda Palmer, and I need to make sure that he's okay. And the paramedics were super nice, very friendly. At this point, Lundy was just with it enough to kind of be awake and alert, but yet I don't think he realized who I was. I put my hand on his chest and I said, Lundy, do you know who I am? And he just said, yeah. And I said, okay, it's Miranda, I'm here. Until Mom gets here, I'm here. And he said, okay. So at that point, they let me go and sit in the hallway with him until they could put him in a room. And next thing I know is he starts to shiver. He gets so cold, which happens, you know, after your body processes all the meds that he had received. I too do have a medical background. I have worked in the cath lab. I've seen different patients. So him having the sickness and the convulsions and then being so cold that he's just shivering was not uncommon. So we helped to get a blanket and relax, and then he starts talking to me just enough that I felt like I knew at that point that he was going to be okay. He seemed more like Lundy. I knew that he was not out of the woods, that he would need a lot of testing, but that he was okay. About that time, Mom got to the hospital. I did forget to tell, though, that, you know, as soon as I realized how bad things were, my first call was to my husband, H. You know, and I just said, you just need to start praying right now. At this point, Lundy's went into anaphylactic shock after a sting. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm at the hospital waiting. And he said, okay. And that led into, like Mom said, a chain of phone calls. One to Pastor Keith Williams, who has always been a role model in my life and my mom's. And, you know, immediately to start praying. But then my own prayer warriors at my church, the Bod in Roland, Oklahoma, you know, I just sent out mass text messages. Please, I need you to pray for my stepdad. He's been stung. We don't know by what. I think he's okay now, but he's not out of the woods. Please just pray. So I would definitely say through all of it, like Mom said, that, you know, God allowed me to be stable for what my mom needed as my mom was going through a trying time, but also to assure me that he was right there, and we had tons of family behind us praying. So then Mom gets there and she's like, you can go, because we couldn't both stay. And so I just, you know, I kind of let her take the lead from there to wait to see what was going to happen next. So one thing that we wanted to also just briefly talk about is, obviously, whenever you're in an ER room and your loved one is like they are, and you're already talking about the fact that you know your loved one's had a heart attack, but yet they come back and they're talking about their labs and they're talking about this troponin level and how high it is. Fear just automatically sets in. And so mom's texting me versus calling me throughout this whole deal, and she's sending me the photos of the EKG readings and things of that nature, and tells me about the troponin, and I'm like, look, I've worked in the cath lab. Do I know everything? By no means. But I have seen several patients that have had super high troponin levels and still come out with no blockages whatsoever. So let's just pray that that's what happens. So continue throughout the day, and then later that night as they continue to rise, even I'm beginning to truly wonder, okay, does he have blockages that we just don't know about? And I told Mom, I said they need to do a heart cath to rule out anything, and about that time is when they do decide to do one the next day. Of course, later throughout the night before bedtime, Lundy is becoming Lundy again and inquisitive and wanting to know what's going on, and he calls me and he's like, I need you to walk me through what this heart cath is going to look like so I know how to be prepared, which I understand. I want to know as well. So I just did the best I could to explain to him that, you know, they'll give him some medicine to kind of relax him, but that he'll be awake, and that they'll run a catheter through his aorta into his heart through the left main to look for any blockages through the front of his heart, the back of his heart, the middle. Basically your three main arteries, your LAD, and then your circumflex and your right coronary artery in the back side. I said, we've got to make sure those are clear. I said, it should be really quick. I said, hopefully it'll all go well, and then they will also test the function of your heart, which is the ejection fraction that Mom had mentioned. He was like, okay. I said, you can do this, you have this, you know, we're gonna believe that all is good. So he called wanting to know all about the details, and that's how I knew that he did feel a little bit better at that point, because that was more like the Lundy that I knew. So anyways, the next day, Mom calls me, of course, tells me he's went down to the cath lab. She calls and she tells me that everything come back good, that there was no blockages. And I said, see, sometimes those things that are meant to put fear and be bad, they turn out good because God's in control. So we couldn't have been happier with, you know, how things were going, and still waiting on the echo. But you know, at the end of the day, I'll just tell from my standpoint, Lundy's been in my life. He's been a father figure in my life now for 10 years. And I've always just seen him be so strong and nothing ever wrong with him unless it's a cold. And so for him to come out of the ambulance when I saw him on that gurney just looking as pitiful as he did, it just truly broke my heart, and nothing I could do about it but be there for him and my mom for whatever they needed. So at the end of the day, we were super grateful for the news we were told, and thankful that God is our healer, and that if we just put trust in Him, that He has it under control.